Hello everybody, this is Maniac for Lego, and we are here with the complete Lego Minifigures Series 9. This is set number 71000, ages 5 and up, released in 2013. 16 different minifigures to collect, and retails for $3 per figure. You really can't find these anymore in stores. If you do, they're probably, stuck in behind shelves and things like that. Even rare to even see 11 or 10 anymore, so you're probably less likely to find 9. So, let's get right on to the review. First up, we have the packaging for this series. The main packaging that all the figures come in. And you can see a lot of them shown right on here, usually about 9. And not just because it's Series 9. On the back, we have nothing really special. I think the package I used for this, Maiden. Hey, that's the last one I used to complete the series. That's funny. Anyways, and I know that because I marked it. So here we have the checklist for the series, and you can see I've lined up all the figures right before you in almost the same checklist order. And you can see all on the back, the traditional style for showing all the unique pieces that are coming in the series, such as head pieces, if there's armor, or, shoulder armor, things, torso stuff, all the accessories to fit on their hands, things to fit on their feet or legs, because we have the Mermaid piece in this series, and we have roller skates in here, so, a couple unique stuff there. Alright, so let's get right on to the review. I do apologize, there will be a couple of jump cuts per minifigure, just to try to shorten the review and make it easier for you guys to see that one after the other. The first minifigure in this series is the Waiter. And you can see we have a little bit of printing on his bottle. I also forgot to mention before the last, edited the video, if you want to see more details about these figures individually, you can check out the individual reviews and, more focus on each of the figures independently. We have the new tray piece, and you can just fit that right on top of there. Not really studded, so it will wobble around. We'll just put that on the side. If you couldn't see clearly, the bottle has a grape design on here, so that's very cool. Kind of representing one, but not advertising it as one, So there we have a better look at his torso. You can see a very nice outfit on him, and very nice hair and face details. Would go well with the Parisian restaurant, in my opinion. And also, that hair has been used a couple times with different minifigures. Computer programmer, Clark Kent. There's no back printing on his face or on his torso. So there we have the Waiter. Number 2 of the series, we have the Cyclops. Very cool looking figure, very unique in his colors and his, designs. You may have seen part of him in the Lego movie, in fact, because he was featured in one of the Eurobricks contest stop-motion animation entries. He does have a club with different little points coming off of it. You can see his back printing there. He does have a double-sided face, and his head is actually like a solid plastic. And you can see on the back of his face a little squinting eye. Let me just bring him forward. You can see like a little squinting eye right there. And then kind of like a happy face. Then on the other side you can see like a wide eye and almost nervous looking. And let me just flip him around this way so you can see how this headpiece looks. This may not work for all minifigures since most have 2 eyes, not one giant eye. But you can see when we fit it on here, he has a more grumpy looking eye, because that squint makes it look like, along with his face, makes it look like he's grumpy. And we have a kind of neutral look on his face with that eye. I actually want to test it real quick with another minifigure, just to see how the eye lines up. We're just going to grab the figure from Series 1, the Spaceman. Ah, not bad. So I actually can see both of his eyes through there, even with a regular minifigure. Very nice. And try to make it into like a Halloween costume or something. So that works out really well. I did not know that until this point. Number 3, we have the Hollywood Starlet. You can see this is the latest figure in any of the series to include a golden trophy. Very nice, kind of like an Oscars trophy. And it has been featured before with other series. Like a tiny, tiny minifigure. Very cool to look at. You can see she's got some really nice detail on her torso and dress. That goes right into it because she has like this nice outfit. We also have this, this hairpiece in blonde. You can see there's no back printing. Very unique color for her. It's like a very, very light blue color. And there is no back printing on her face either. I'll give you a look at the hair as we go all the way around. It's got to fit it back on there. So there we have it. Very nicely done with this hairpiece. Nice look on the Hollywood Starlet. Number 4, we have the Heroic Knight. I do apologize if I get some of these names wrong. But we'll take a look at all the armor on top, and then we'll go inside towards him. You can see the nice printing on his shield. Not specifying which castle theme he's from. Maybe it's just another section, or just, put him into any of the castle themes that you want him to. Similar with other figures. We also have it in a chromish color on the back of it. You can see there. And it does have room so you can attach this on this way. I thought that would be a cool idea if you didn't have the waiter. You could use that as another way of making a sort of dish. We have that nice smaller sword with him. Very cool looking, very classic. Also in a kind of chromish color. And also his armor on the front you can see is a chrome color. We also have some printing on his legs, you can see right there. As we look up on the armor, we have this very nice helmet for him. No printing on the back. And I'll tell you right now, he doesn't have any torso printing, and he doesn't have a back face. We can lift up the helmet like this to see his face. We could also pull it off just like this to see his face. Very nice looking, casual guy. Maybe a little bit arrogant, but, he's a knight. We'll take that off, and you can see that there is no printing on the torso itself. Most of it is just reserved for the armor. And we'll spin him around again. Nothing to see there. Nothing up my sleeves. And there we have, our Heroic Knight. Yes, that actually brings up a good point. Thank you, Friction. These do come apart in the package. Just make a note of that. And you will have to attach them together using the pin on the top. And then putting this right on to the helmet. Number 5, we have the Roman Emperor. Very nice looking, very good concept. Goes with some of the other Roman figures we've had. And just with the historical line. You can see on there it says Veni, Vidi, Vici. And then just has a facade for all the script underneath it. Basically it says, I came, I saw, I conquered. Actually, yeah, pretty much. That's a famous phrase from a previous Roman emperor in real life. Now we can see a very nice torso printing on him to have that robe effect. Also has the sandals on the bottom. It also has printing along both sides of his legs. Let's take a closer look at his face. I believe he does not have any back printing for his face. His face almost reminds me of the one for the Ocean King, but I think it's different. I don't have the Ocean King, so I actually can't confirm that. Very nice gold trimming along the back. You can see there. No back printing. And no back face. There's our Roman Emperor. Number 6, we have the Policeman. Nothing really particular about this one. It's just kind of a different variation from Policeman we've seen before. More city-based. Not really like something extraordinary like we've been seeing in some other ones. Now what we can see, he does have his badge and information that confirms he's a cop, of course. 2101 on the badge for the number. And it just has what looks like lines. We can't actually read what it says underneath there. So there's a look at his torso. Very dark looking. Kind of reminds me of a New York policeman, in fact. And I went to New York not too long ago, so I could actually confirm he looks, pretty accurate to that. Like your modern policeman, even with the hat, which you can get in a different color in the LEGO City 2014 line. So if you want that hat, you could get it other ways. Also got a nice, kind of genuine smile on him. He's very calm. He's not forceful or anything. He's just doing his duty. Very nice looking on there. We also get some nice colors on the hat itself. Good looking all the way around, except for the back. No back printing, and he does also come with some handcuffs. Oops, sorry about that. Number 7, we have the Chicken Suit Guy, a fan favorite from the Series 9. I can't deny. This is actually the first minifigure that has arms on both sides that can be reversed. So it doesn't matter which way you put this on. And just to let you know, it comes in the package just like this. You don't have to attach the arms themselves, but as far as putting this on, whether it goes this way or this way, the arms are exactly the same on both sides. So it doesn't matter as a left wing or a right wing, they're both the same. Now let's take a closer look at the printing on his face. Very nice looking print. Looks like brown eyes, kind of like a dark brown, almost black. It's a little hard to see sometimes. Very unique look on his chicken hat. His torso is only white. I actually would have preferred if it had like a little bit of detail on it, like some ruffled feathers or something like that. Get some nice printing on his feet to make those, to make it look like chicken feet. And as we turn him around, you can see more of that nice detail on the head. Is an orange pants. Very light orange, actually, pants. Fuck! There's our chicken guy. Number 8, we have the roller derby girl. And she only has one side to her face, but a very angry side on this one. You can see there. Good if you wanted to use angry female figures, I don't know. I would have preferred if she had another side to her face, personally. So that she's not just angry. You can see she has some printing on her arms. That's why I want to point out, some shoulder pads and some... Not shoulder pads. What do you call them? Elbow pads? Yeah, that's the elbow area, so yeah. Elbow pads, knee pads, so she stays safe while roller skating. And give you a closer look, here's the roller skate itself. Turn sideways. You can see that. It is a separate piece, and there are 2 of them, of course, for both feet. Just as you saw on the package. It does have a little bit of difference on both sides, so you know which way to put it on. Usually it has like a little groove on the top of this one, so you can fit it on and stay fixed with her. I'll turn her around. Like I said, no back. Oh well. There's a roller derby girl. Number 9, we have the Fortune Teller. Very cool looking figure. One of the first ones I got for this series. And this is, I think, the second dress one that we've gone through. So let's take a closer look. Each of her little cards is different. The first one we have has a sun on it and no description underneath, but the indication that there would be a description. And then the next one has a castle with some thunder around it. So very interesting. Probably good fortune and then misfortune, to put it at least. And those are separate, they are still in the package. It's a 1x2 pieces. That just attached them onto the sides of her hands for convenience. You can see she's got some very nice detail on her torso. I actually think she would be a nice figure for like a female pirate. I really think that. Maybe it's the bandana, maybe it's the hair, maybe it's all of it that makes me think so. We'll take off that so we can see her face better. And there is no double side to her face. As you can see there. She does not have any back printing whatsoever. And here's a look at her hair. You can see it's got, the curl on one side. Lots of little gold and purple details. Very well done. turn it around with her hair on. There is the fortune teller. Number 10, we have the judge. What I'm going to do, I'm going to look around him first, then we'll take off each part. Same way we did with the heroic knight. So we'll take a look first, and you can see some of his face printing. You can see also the very nice, it's actually a flexible piece. The little powdered wig that's on him as a judge, it's not his actual hair, it's just kind of the format for your classic judges. Not sure why. We have a gavel piece. It's a very nice look for a hammer, and, well, it's called a gavel in the courtroom. There you can see the back of him with the cape. Alright, so we'll take each one off at a time. There is no back printing on his face or on his torso. You can see that with the flap up. Flap's still up like that. Mainly the powdered wig is holding it down. And as I mentioned before, this is a flexible piece. When you feel in the package, you'll probably feel for these two parts being separate. Try not to confuse that with the Forest Maiden or the Mermaid, because they're kind of similar. Not exactly texturally similar, but just like the general shape of it. But you can tell this one more apart because it has all these little ridges on there, nice and even. Alright, so we'll take a look at his face a little bit better. You can see right there. Good look on his face. We'll take off the head. This comes separately as one big piece. I believe it's the same one used for the graduate, right? Just in a red color instead of a black color. And now we can see his torso better. Very interesting look on the torso. But again, no back printing. And nothing special for his... You can see a bunch of these figures don't have much for the leg printing. So there we have our judge. Number 11, we have the Alien Avenger. Kind of interesting name. This is a recoloring of the Galaxy Patrol figure from Series 7, I believe. Yes. So let's take a closer look. We'll see all the outside details first, such as his leg printing. You can see some like bronze coloring there. Also bronze on his armor. On both sides, it's the same one. You can also see on the back, he does have room for studs. You can fit a stud on the back of there. You can also fit some things on here, such as rocket boosters, or you can fit a figure on there, like, you know, that width for his hands. Alright, so we'll start taking off each part. You can see his face better here. Let me just see if I can make that lighter. Okay, that's the best I can get. His gray helmet is kind of plain. We'll show more of that later. But you can also have it in his hand as a clip. Let's see. He doesn't have any back printing on his face. I don't have to really show it that much. But it is a unique head. And now we'll take off the armor. That's how it looks in bulk with the package. That's how it comes separately. And now we can take a better look at his regular torso, which does have a lot of printing on it, contrary to the Heroic Knight. So you can see lots of printing on this torso. He has a little name here, too. Let's see, S-N-A-M-I. I think that's it's either an N or an H. Shanmi or Snami, I'm not sure. Written in a nice style. You can see some good printing on there. No printing on the back. And we'll put the helmet back on so that you can see it all the way around without the armor being in the way. Alright, so there's our figure, and we also have with him a blaster. Your typical space blaster. For number 12, we have the Mermaid. Now, some of you may be familiar with the Mermaid that we get in the LEGO Movie theme. Yes, they do have the same exact tail, but they do have some other differences. As we look across this one, it has some nice little details on the front. Kind of flashy, so, you know, make it look like some, you know... Kind of reminds me of that story, Rainbow Fish, where, you know, it has, like, the flashy scales throughout the book. Here we'll take a closer look at her torso details. And you can also see her face clearer. The hair is exactly the same, with, you know, a little difference of color, to the one from Ms. Scratch and Post. Although, this one came first. Then we have a starfish in her hand. You can actually fit the starfish in here because one of the arms is used as a clip. There you can see it from the back and around, so you can see how large that tail is. Used only a couple times within minifigure series and with minifigures in general. It was first used in Pirates of the Caribbean. There is no back printing on her face or torso. I did knock her over by accident. And you can see on the bottom of her, she roughly covers 2x2 pieces, but you can still stand on at least 1x2. There we have our mermaid. Number 13, we have the Battle Mech. Very mysterious looking figure. Basically the same details and at the same time also as the figure from Galaxy Squad. One of the robot figures in that series had a similar, you know, use of the, you know, head and shoulder armor. So let's take a look at his details. He's got some orange, white, and some chrome going on. A nice color scheme for him. You can see his nice details on the legs, and it kind of has a, you know, mysterious looking face there. We'll take a further look at that in just a little bit. Then, as we see the back of him, you have two clips similar to the Alien Avenger. So, you can attach things the same way with that. And now let's take a look on the further details inside of him. Starting with his head, you can see there's no actual human face. It's just covered like so. Kind of like how some of the classic versions of Stormtroopers and... not Stormtroopers. The Emperor Guards? No. What am I thinking of? Anyways, plain white head on the back of him. I remember now, Biker Scouts from Star Wars. That's the one I was thinking of. There we can see his torso printing a little bit better. Still looks pretty good, you know, even without the armor on him. And this is the armor piece itself to help you find it if you're looking in packages. And then we'll put it all back together, and that is our Battle Mech. No accessories. Number 14, we have Mr. Good and Evil. Kind of a Jekyll and Hyde or Two-Face type of character, where he has a dual personality. On this, you know, I really like this figure a lot because he has, you know, incredible detail alone, just for the kind of suit that he's wearing, but also they make it a little bit different. In this one, they have all the detail split directly in the center. You can see on his face and on his torso especially the differences in his outfit and his, well, expression. You can see like little bits of green in there, so it makes it a little harder to use this entire torso for other things. If you saw it more from one side than the other, maybe it would be okay, but I'm not really sure. You can even see rips in his pants. Comes with a green hand and a yellow hand, a purple poison, or not really poison, probably just a potion, that's what I meant to say, in his bottle. He also has some printing on his hat, which doesn't happen often with figures, so I actually do appreciate that with the hat. And then you can see his face a little bit better. No back printing. And nothing different on the hat on either side. Looks pretty much the same. Number 15, we have the Forest Maiden. Now, I have a lot of her accessories brought forward so you can first off see her details on this little shield. Looks pretty good. I haven't seen too many shields with some nice printing like that. I mean, the Royal Knight also had some nice printing on it, but as far as the oval type, this is a really nice looking shield. Really takes advantage of the space. I'll just turn that sideways. You can see how that's put together. And I'll move it off to the side. We also get with her a new hairpiece, which is used only twice. The new hairpiece is used with her and Princess Leia in the Ewok village. We'll take a look at that in just a bit, because I'm having trouble with this. We get the large bow. I don't know if that's been used many times since this figure, or even after this figure. I'm not sure on its usage. Let me know in the comments. because this seems like a kind of rare piece, and it's really nice looking though for a bow. Yeah, very fancy type. Oops, almost dropped it. So we got the hairpiece, which, like I said before, can be slightly confusing if you don't look carefully for the judge's hairpiece, because this is also made of a flexible plastic. Much more flexible. As you can see, I can bend these in different directions. Not going to bend it too far or something bad might happen. Even these sides can bend in different directions very easily, so it's very soft plastic. Even feeling it, you know it's a soft plastic. So here's a look at her torso printing on here. She doesn't have anything on the back. But I really like her printing. Even if she's not a warrior type, she just makes good for a city, you know, like a villager woman, I guess. Very good looking. Very, you know, calm and kind of a humble appearance to her. Only made a little bit, you know, interesting with her weaponry. So there we have the Forest Maiden. And last but not least, we don't have the Flying Flusher, but we have the Plumber. This Plumber is the original Plumber that's been used. Pretty much has the same torso design and overall look to him to the one that is in the Flying Flusher. Both of them, in fact, because they have the same relative torso printing. Very nice looking plunger on here. And I've tested this before. The plunger itself does not connect to any Lego bricks, and in fact doesn't connect too well as a suction to any flat surfaces. It's only made for design and not really intended for actual suction. It does have some flexible part on the bottom, so you can squeeze this a little bit if you wanted to. And you could try to push it into flat surfaces, but it's not really intended to be a fully functional plunger. So there we have some nice torso detail on him. I'll take off his blue hat, and you can see his face better. Good looking face, actually. On the back, we do have some printing. We have his overalls just coming around the back, which I really like for overall figures. You know, if they have that, it has to go around the back. Otherwise, it defeats half the purpose and function of the outfit. Then we have the hat itself. It does have some smaller molding designs in here to make it look like a, you know, like it's been worn out a little bit. So it's kind of interesting. So there we have the Plumber. Overall, this series seems to be a little bit interesting. It's not exactly my favorite series of all of them, and even though it's been one I've collected entirely, I could say that there are some other series that I like a little bit better in different ways. For this one, I do enjoy all the different colors that we get, both dark and light. But I do notice a lot of it is done in a darker tone. Not too many bright and outstanding colors with this series. Even ones like dark greens. You have a bunch with different grays or chrome, you know, sort of feel to it. Or even like a white and a little bit of black. So as far as the color tone for this series seems to be like a little bit lower. And it's not really a bad thing. I just, you know, because it suits each of the figures very well. I wouldn't change their colors, just, you know, just to appeal, you know, for the variety. There is a large variety for different occupations and different eras and periods that this minifigure series is based on, so I highly appreciate that. You have a couple of modern ones. You could probably consider them modern. And maybe the Mermaid. Maybe the Mermaid would be classic. You have a couple in the past. You have a couple in the future. Probably like 2 in the future, I guess. One that can predict the future. You're probably wondering, why does she have tarot cards instead of, you know, if you're thinking, you probably, when you thought about there being a fortune teller figure, you probably would have expected a crystal ball with her. Well, first of all, that might be too large of a piece, and usually large pieces aren't included with minifigure packages, except for ones that are used for things such as tails or armor. So, yeah, I know maybe that would have been good, but I'm actually okay with the tarot cards. Brings a little bit more variety to the type of things that a 1x2 brick can do. And we've seen a lot of that recently, so I'm really enjoying that. And it also, you know, that's another thing that fortune tellers do. They have cards to predict the future, you know. And I have to say, this one has, like I said before, it has a lot of interesting thoughts to it. Lots of different areas are covered in here. Some of them sports, some of them, space. We have a little bit of medieval to, yeah, I guess you could say medieval. We have a bunch that are modern. We have some fun, we have some serious, we have some a little in between. So it's very interesting. We also have some historical. So I guess I think I've already mentioned that before. Anyways, if I had to pick a favorite series, it's not a favorite series, a favorite minifigure from this series, I'm not really sure which one I would pick. I think the choice would be between, The Judge is pretty good. It's an interesting concept that hasn't been explored by LEGO before, and I appreciate the kinds of thought that they put into this figure. I really like the Roman Emperor, I'll tell you that, because his interesting torso design and, and face and hair just pulls off, a good authentic look, and also, is a good combination with some of the other Roman figures that we've gotten. The Cyclops is a good thought. It's a very rare thing for minifigures to have, anything other than two sets of, one set of two eyes. I think we've only had it with figures such as Cyclops, this, Cyclops, and maybe a few others, that are mainly like alien sorts that are made to have a difference of face. And also we have Chima, which would have a difference of a human, anthropomorphic, thank you. That's what I meant. Sort of figure. So instead of it being a human, it's something else as a human-like figure. And he's also just, an interesting design, having different expressions to him, and also having a nice little club. I also like the Hollywood Starlet. She just has an interesting design to her dress, to make it look very cool. She reminds me almost of Marilyn Monroe, just by the hair and by the face. It's also good to get the trophy in this way, because I've missed out the other times of getting a trophy, so this is the only one that I have. The chicken suit guy is always a favorite, because he's just funny looking, and I've always used him for a bunch of other things. But this is what I've also noticed about this series, it could have a couple different army building types to it. If you look very closely, you could probably make an army out of waiters. You can probably have a bunch of them with the same uniform working in one restaurant. Heroic Knights, you could customize it a little bit to make them not all the same knight, but you could still have an army based on that. The Roller Derby Girl, you might still have the 49 as a print on there, which I don't know if that would be like more of a team number or just, the player number, but still you can make a race out of them. The Policeman, you could definitely make a police force out of that. The Alien Avenger, possibly. The Mermaid, you could change around a couple times and make into different, make into different mermaids. The Plumber, you could probably have a plumbing crew. Battle Mech, I don't know, maybe. So this one has a lot of potential for other things. And also, I'm going to count the Force Maiden, as a favorite, because she's the last one that I found. She was actually one of the least interesting when I first started with this series, and started to grow on me, actually, because I really appreciated her design. I also appreciated her colors, and I appreciated her usage. Other than just being, a warrior-type figure, she also seems like a calm village woman, somebody that can just be as a city folk. I know city, village, I've been mixing those two words around a bit. And what else was I going to say? This series seems pretty good. Let me just try to recollect my thoughts for a minute. Oh yes, now I remember what I was going to say. This series is pretty good, but as far as finding figures, it was a little bit difficult. I mean, it's a great thing that we have 4 figures, 1, 2, 3, 4, that have pieces for their legs other than regular legs. So it makes it a little bit more likely to find those types. However, it's also misleading. If you try it too quickly, you might be able to confuse some of these 3. And if you're really not sure, you might be able to confuse this one. This one does make it one of the more obvious ones to find. but I've had a little bit of trouble with trying to find the right ones. I had trouble between the Battle Mech and the Heroic Knight because I confused the armor on them. I may have even confused it with this guy. I'm not even sure. But there are a few things in here that, you know, can make it a little bit tricky to find these figures. I mentioned before about these two and the headpieces, and possibly this one too, you know, with the headpieces. So just be careful when trying to fill your packages. I mean, it's good if you know what you're looking for and you know what's in there. If you pay good enough attention, you'll be able to find it. And that goes for any series, not just this one. But this one is probably one that I would probably say has more, you know, it kind of has a little bit more as far as elusiveness for each of these minifigures. Because I would spend much time trying to figure out who these figures were, and mainly because they seem similar to other figures. But overall, this is a good looking series. Not particularly my favorite, but it still has, you know, a lot of good charm to it. Lots of good personality in different areas, different themes. So it has good enough draw for me to, you know, to like it. And there's not really any of them that I dislike, you know, the most. I think if I had to choose one, I'd probably say the roller derby girl. And not really that much, because I like the idea of a roller skating figure, but I just don't know much about roller derbies themselves. And I do think maybe the Heroic Knight is a little bit repetitive, since around this time we would also have some other castle figures that we could also get that pretty much the same thing with, you know, so maybe we wouldn't even need to get this Heroic Knight, but we could get him in some other castle themed sets. So thanks for watching this video, hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you next time with more LEGO set reviews.